All right, guys, we're live here on this Friday morning talking about the box office for the Batman. And I'll tell you, the number that we ended up with was 21.6 million, which sounds okay. Sounds okay. Here's the issue is when you compare it to other films and what they were able to bank on Thursday night for their Thursday night, it's a little underwhelming. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, we can spin it however you want to spin it, but when you really look at the number at 21.6 million and you compare it to The Dark Knight Rises at 30 million. And let's also discuss this. The Dark Knight Rises started much later. It was not a 3 p.m. start on a Thursday. And when you have that situation where you have, this really an advantage. You're talking about a 3 p.m. start versus a, 6 p.m., midnight, whatever that is. Remember the old days, it was midnight screenings. That's how it worked. It was, we're going to have this thing start at midnight, and you would see a film like Harry Potter do an insane number. It shows you the difference between then, right? The late zeros and 2000, obviously Dark Knight Rises was 2012. The difference in society now versus then, when we had only right back then, we didn't have Netflix streaming. We had them sending out DVDs. We had no Hulu. We had no Amazon. We had no Apple TV Plus. We didn't have all these streamers. And even YouTube wasn't as big, right? So when you have all of those different options available to you now 10 years removed from The Dark Knight Rises, you see what happens. You go from a $30 million late night only debut to a 21.6 million debut that had 3 p.m. screenings. And here's the alarming part. This is the part that for me is like, hold on, this number is really not that impressive. Is I was curious what they were going to do with those Tuesday and Wednesday numbers. Remember, Tuesday night they had those screenings for $30, the fan screenings, and so you sold those out coast to coast, and then you had a number of investor screenings for AMC and Regal and all that on Wednesday. So what they did is they have a choice. Warner Brothers, listen, when it comes down to financing and where you throw this money in box office, you have options. They could have taken that Tuesday, Wednesday, I imagine, and thrown it into Friday versus Thursday night, but they didn't. They put it into Thursday night. So now you're not just talking about an underwhelming $21.6 million number that's just Thursday from 3 o'clock on. You're talking about that number, including Tuesday, including Wednesday. And then you really look at it and you say, this is not that great. I mean, listen, it's not 5 million. We knew it wasn't going to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. We knew that wasn't the case. But in truth, when I see how this film's building, the momentum it's gathering, I'm looking for a number that's much closer to 30, okay? 30 million. And it's not. It is 9 million off of that. Okay, a little bit less than that, but let's say 9 million off of that 30. That's a significant number. And here's the issue going forward. As we look at this and we say at 21.6 for Thursday, now you have all day today, Friday, you have Saturday and Sunday. The issue with this film is going to be, as I said when we did this review live on Monday morning at 9 a.m., the issue is going to be families. They cannot go see this movie. Well, they can, but you're not a very good parent if you take them. That's the truth. So if you remove families from the equation, which very clearly No Way Home had, right? No Way Home has, MCU films have in spades, right? They have families coming in to see these films. That's where you get those crazy numbers over the weekend that sometimes rise. They go above expectations. They outperform on Saturday and Sunday because you have the families in the multiplex, mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, or the whole family, extended family goes to see an MCU film. That's not going to happen this weekend with the Batman. It's just not, because it is a serial killer Batman movie. It is David Fincher's Seven meets Batman. We know that. You know that. You've seen it. Therefore, you remove a significant portion of the population. Families. So it's not a four quad film. Four quad film means all in. Everybody everyone who can go see a movie is going to go see this movie, and that includes families. That's not going to be the case this weekend. So right now we're behind at 21.6. You're already behind. That's the reality of it. And going forward, what scares me for Warner Brothers, and I'm a huge fan of this film. I know you are too, but we have to talk in realities here. We can't spin things as fans. We have to spin things as the real numbers and again, reality. We have to live in a grounded reality of what the truth is in these numbers. 21.6 is not a great number. It's okay, it's fine, it's not a bad number, but it certainly is not something to say, "Oh my god, did you see that?" Because again, just compare it to No Way Home. No Way Home was at 50 million. 30 million less, 29 whatever. 30 million less. That's a huge difference, okay? That's the difference between MCU and DCEU. And that's the difference between a family film in obviously No Way Home that all the family can go and you get that kind of number and the kids and everybody's going to see it. And Batman's not going to have that. So, and yes, I understand that No Way Home was the culmination of, the series, the trilogy was over. And even though it's not over, you know what I'm saying? Just like The Dark Knight Rises. I get it. It's not apples to apples. I understand that. But still, it is a CBM. It is the Batman. Batman is one of the Mount Rushmore superheroes. So if you can't get this number up to at least 30 million for a preview for a Thursday, including Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm sorry. This is not, I'm unimpressed. I'm not saying it's a terrible number, but I'm unimpressed. And I think that, the issue is, Kyle, it has some people here chiming in, do you think it can get to a billion? Here's the good news for the Batman is that whatever happens this weekend, and I think it's going to go, I really do think that we are going to go down. I think this is going to be a front loaded number. So you have 21.6 last night, obviously Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 21.6. This is the kind of film that people ran out to see. And that means we're going to get a front loaded number. We're going to get people that went to see it, and then it's going to start to trail off. And that's where the families come in. But the families aren't going to be there. So that's why you're going to see the number go like that. And I think the other issue is, without question, the replay value of this film is not nearly as strong as it was for No Way Home. I'll give you my own personal example. I saw the Batman not last Wednesday, but like 2 Wednesdays ago. Okay. 3 hours. I really enjoy most of this film. There's some things for sure that I have an issue with, and runtime is no question one of them. When you sit through a 3-hour movie, you're asking people for a lot. You're asking them to really just, I mean, you're talking about literally, I can get on a plane here in Los Angeles and get 3/5 of the way to New York, right? I'm on the plane. I'm somewhere over Ohio when the movie ends, my home state. But the point is that you're asking people to sit through a 3-hour movie. And when you do that, okay, when you ask people to sit through a 3-hour movie, the chances are they're not going to sit through a 3-hour movie 2 times in one weekend. Sure, I know what happened with Endgame, different scenario. I know that No Way Home was 2 hours and 35, but I'm just saying, and I know that when you ask someone to sit through a 3-hour movie twice, they're likely not going to do it. And so I don't think you're going to have that same component of No Way Home of people coming in and then going to see it again. In fact, I saw No Way Home on a Tuesday. It opens on Thursday. I saw it Thursday, so I saw it back to back in a 3-day span, 2 times. I had a chance to go see the Batman last night. In fact, I had tickets for the Dolby screening, which I love here in Burbank. The Dolby Cinema is the number one screen here in Los Angeles. But, I sat here and I said to myself, I don't think I want to see it again. Not right now. Not right now. I do want to see the Batman again, but not right now. And I think that was this difference between No Way Home and the Batman for me. Is No Way Home I wanted to see again, right? Those moments, the exhilaration, certainly the emotion of seeing all 3 Spider-Men. This film doesn't have that, okay? It's not that film. I understand that. But it doesn't have that moment where you literally are just, the crowd is going to get up and do the Avengers assemble scene, right? That everyone's like, let's go. You're not getting that with the Batman. The Batmobile scene's the closest thing to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, when you don't have that, you are limiting your repeat viewing chances. And then therefore your number's going to be lower because there's no question that people went to see No Way Home multiple times that opening weekend. And that adds to your number, and you end up with 260 or whatever the number was, right? 260. So we are 30 million under what No Way Home was. And that is, I'm sorry, it's a CBM at the end of the day. I understand it's not apples to apples, but I'm just telling you, this number is decent. It is not great. I doubt Warner Brothers down the street from me right now is sitting there right now in a meeting saying we are absolutely thrilled with this number. They are definitely not going, this is the worst case scenario, but they wanted this number closer to 30, especially when you throw Tuesday and Wednesday into the equation. You're talking about 3 nights of screenings and only ending up at 21.6 million. That's underperforming. No other way to spin it. And a lot of you are saying, I saw it again. I'm going to see it again, which is true. Maybe you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't doubt that some of you are going to see it again. But what I'm saying for me is if I don't want to see it again within even a week, not even a few days, but a week, because I want to give it a little more time, and I'll probably see it next week when it opens up a little bit more and it's, not such a hassle over there. But I just don't see the repeat viewing value in this that I did in No Way Home. So again, this number of 21.6 million is a disappointment. And listen, I want to make one thing clear as we continue forward on this journey and we discuss films here on the YouTube channel and certainly Twitter, wherever you want to, have a discussion. I am not an MCU guy. Not a DCEU guy. I am a guy who watches films and evaluates them and whether they work or whether they do not work and what they're intending to do. I do not have a dog in the fight. I do not. I mean, look back here. How many DCEU and MCU even films do I have up here? I have Joker, obviously. These are all primarily awards films, right? These are award screeners. They're not going to send out. Well, I shouldn't say that. Where did Wonder Woman go? There she is. Look, Wonder Woman 84. This is the best screener I ever received because that's the worst. That is the single worst CBM ever made. And they sent out an award screener for WW 84. So that'll be on the wall forever. But when you talk about these films, I really just want to discuss them as viable commercial, properties. I don't want to discuss them as MCU versus DCU. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I want to see a good film, and that's all there is to it. So when we spin this number of 21.6, the spin ends up with it's okay. It's not great. That's just the reality of it. I fear over the weekend that this number is actually going to go down. It is going to dip because, again, you have this front loading effect. I mean, how many of you went out to see it on Tuesday for the fan screenings or Wednesday or certainly last night? So once you have all these people and only 21.6 million, not 40 million, $21.6 million in advance sales in this, the first rush to go see the film, that needs to be higher. That number's got to be bigger for this thing to pop. If this ends up at 100, 110, 115 million, that is a disappointment. I've been saying for days now that the bottom floor for this film, the number that should absolutely not go below, is 125. That's the number. It should not be below 125. If it ends up below 125, it is a big disappointment for Warner Brothers. Does that mean we're not going to get another Matt Reeves Batman? You guys saw the film. There's a sequel coming. Surprise, shock. But that said, they're going to have a little bit of a second thought. They're going to say, because, listen, we got to watch this thing over the next few weeks because it will be interesting to see how this film holds weekend to weekend. The big thing going for it, there is nothing scheduled in the multiplex for the next several weeks. In fact, I think the next is it Lost City. Is that the next kind of big one? The Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum and Brad Pitt film. I think that's in a few weeks. I got to get my thing. Is it April? I got to look at my schedule. But here's the thing: there's nothing coming up. Therefore, the Batman owns the multiplex for the next numerous weeks, and as such, it should do well. But that gets back to word of mouth and repeat viewings and all of these things. Will the casual moviegoer go to see this film? I thought they would. I think they're a little bit turned off by the runtime, no question, by the dark tone, even though I love it. You likely loved it. There's some people that want a more comic booky Batman, and I understand that as well. So if you don't deliver that, you definitely don't deliver families to the multiplex. And that's where this issue comes in again of a number that is underwhelming. The families were not in play. But Warner Brothers knew that from day one when they greenlit a serial killer Batman film that you do not have the families at the multiplex. And I know it's PG-13. So technically, yes, you do. But you know, and I know that if you're a good parent, you go to see a movie first. And I can tell you right now, I've got kids. They're a little bit older now. But the point of it is I would not take them to see the Batman when they were younger. There's no question about it. Now, yes, but I still see I paused a little bit there because it is still very dark. Whether you guys consider it dark or not, you got to understand viewing through the eyes of a young child, there is no way in hell that kid's going to have nightmares of the Riddler. Okay? Nightmares of Penguin, name it, on and on. There's so many things in this film that'll freak out a young kid. Therefore, they cannot go see the film. And that's going to hurt the film. No question about it. So, listen, I hope it does well. I really do. I hope this film outperforms. I hope it gets to at least $135 million. If it can get to 135, that is a decent number. That's a good number, a good jumping off point. But if it gets under that, if it's at 100, 110, boy, that's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. There's no other spin to this. So let's hope for at least 135 here. Thursday night's number is not really selling me that it's going to get there. I hope it will. I do. But again, I worry about front loading and I especially worry about no families in the marketplace, not a legitimate source of income for this film. There'll be a few, but not like an MCU, not like Shang-Chi, right? Not even close. So if you remove families, you are looking at a number that's going to go down throughout the weekend. It's not going to rise on Saturday, and then obviously we always see Sunday go down. But what happens when you have those Saturday, you get the matinees and the families are there. Hey, let's all go to see a movie. And that's where you see Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi did really good numbers each day successively because it had the families there for those Saturday 11 a.m., 1, 2, 3, those afternoon matinee screenings that the family can go to. The Batman will not have crowds like that, not even close. Warner Brothers knew this. There's nothing wrong with it. But if we're talking about box office numbers, be prepared to be a little bit underwhelmed as we go forward. So that's where we are on the Batman. We'll talk more about this. We'll do another on Sunday night. I want to, or maybe even Sunday afternoon. We'll see where we're at. I want to see this number, where we end up on Sunday. I hope we get to 135. Anything under that will be a disappointment. That is the no spin, rendering of that. That anything under 135 is a disappointment. Period. Hopefully it gets there. We'll talk again soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll talk again soon.